Alright, so here in this video I'm gonna do a walkthrough on how we could set up our lights and also set up our camera that will be used in our rendering. So I'm gonna take it from the top, even though we already have a camera here, but I'm gonna do it from scratch and show you how you could do it, set up a new camera of your own in your own projects. So first things first, let's find our outliner. This is our outliner, and in our scene we can see that we have this render cam that I had created, and this render cam is this one here, as you can see, highlighted in white. So I'm just gonna delete this render cam by clicking it in outliner and pressing delete. Now we don't have a camera here, and it's back to default back Z. So this is our scene, right? So if we are going to go by our project, we know that we want to set our aspect ratio, our resolution for our render to be 960x540. But how do you find that kind of information? Well, you can go to Windows, inside rendering editors, and click render settings here, right? So I'm gonna click that. That brings up our render settings. Right, first things first, what you can see is it's gonna state here that we will be rendering using the Arnold renderer. By default, if you don't have this, it will go to Maya software, which we don't really want to use because it's not gonna give you really nice results. Since we are using Maya 2017, hopefully you are able to use Arnold renderer, and that will help you to produce nicer renders. And if for any reason your Arnold render is not working, by all means please try and get it fixed, because you don't want your renders to be looking not nice. Alright, so we will see that there's several tabs up here. The first one is common, and if we were to scroll down right down to here, which is called image size, you'll see that right now our resolution is set at 960x540, which is exactly what we want, which is what is stated in the project brief. Alright, so our renders will come out looking 960x540 pixels wide and 540 pixels in terms of height. Right, now before we move on, we need to know which camera we are rendering from. Right now, the only camera I have here is the perspective camera, which is what you're seeing here. Right, let's create a new camera by going to Panels, Perspective, and choosing New. This is what we have at the moment. We are going to create a new camera by doing this. Right, cool. Now, as you can see in the outliner, it's created a new camera for us, and it's called Perspective 1, PERSP1. You can rename it, so I'm gonna double click that and give it a new name, perhaps render cam. Right, so this is our render cam. This is not our perspective camera, this is our render cam. Now what we are going to do is we need to know what are the boundaries of our render. And to do that, you need to switch on the resolution gate, which is located up here. So I'm gonna click that icon. Immediately you'll see that we have a boundary here stated 960x540. Cool. So in essence, this is what you see when you render out your scene. Now we need to also frame our shots properly. So let me just close things here, and I will attempt to kind of compose my shot. Well, composing is basically trying to move the camera around, and you can do that very quickly by just navigating here in the viewport. Let me just bring up the layout as 2 panes side by side by going to Panels, Layouts, 2 panes side by side. Right, now I have my render cam on the left. For this panel, at the moment it is called back Z, which is an orthographic view. Alright, it's that one. So I'm gonna change it to perspective, which is the default perspective camera that we always get whenever we start a new scene in Maya. So let's press 5, and let me just bring up wireframe unshaded. Probably switch this one off, maybe not. Okay, so this is our perspective camera. We can move it freely around, and it's not gonna change whatever is showing in our render cam here. Alright, cool. And let me just select my render cam and press F here, and you'll see this is our render cam here. See, it's stated there, render cam. Now what I can do to kind of compose my shots is by doing that, and immediately you see that the camera kind of move to a different position, which is now about here. It is a bit small, and you can enlarge it if you want, but I decide not to do it. So one way of doing it is probably moving the camera like so, rotating it if you feel like you need to, or you can just simply use the viewport and move it around like so. So move your view until you get kind of a nice composition going on. What I mean by that is everything is shown clearly in your shots. If you feel that you need this window to show in your render and have, you know, probably some rays to kind of shine in and hit our objects, and you want the shadows to be showing in your renders, compose your shots nicely so that we see everything in view. Okay, for a start, this might be good. Perhaps, you know, if I had something like a picture here, probably I'll move this candle somewhere else, probably move it to the side perhaps, but for now I'm not gonna mess around with that scene. So this is very good. With this, what I can do with my render cam, and I think this is a good view, or as it is, I'm gonna lock it by clicking lock camera, and this is a new feature in Maya 2017. So I'm gonna click that. Now if I were to move things around, I can't do so because now the camera is locked. I can't zoom in, I can't pivot, or, you know, truck in or out. Everything is locked, which is exactly what I want. Alright, cool. So that's basically how we can set up a camera and kind of move it around to get a nice composition going on, and locking our camera. And in the next video we'll learn how to add lights and start rendering in Arnold.